Becoming mystery solvers. Josh, Zach, Chris, Isabel, Devin, and Ruby want to become mystery solvers. A bird swoops down and says to them, to become mystery solvers, you'll need to take a long journey, okay? All right, where do we go? One of the group members asked. You cross running waters, Death Valley, and the dark field, the bird replied. One of the group members, Josh, responded, okay, but we have to cross Death Valley though? I'm afraid. Bye. The bird and the group then parted ways. Josh continued, okay, guys, we have a mission. So let's get over the mountains to get to the running waters. All right, any questions? No one said anything. Okay, let's go. So the young children eventually find the running waters. Chris then said to the group, how do we get across? Josh gave him an evil eye glare. Oh, yeah, we swim across, Chris said. The children swim across and lose Ruby. The children get out of the running waters, and a few minutes later, they find Death Valley. Devin then said to everyone, I'm going to the river to get water. Wait for me at the field. Josh turned to the group as Devin left and said, okay, guys, let's keep going. The children eventually make it to the field. They decide to vote on whether to wait for Devin or keep going. They continue to move, and then out comes the Tangler. So they run, and the Tangler grabs Zack. They continue to run, and eventually they didn't see either the Tangler or Devin. Eventually, they found a bottle and grab it, and then Devin returned with a bottle and they drank from it. Josh put the bottle in his backpack. They then started their adventure back home where they belonged. They made it back to school in time, and in their classroom, they saw Ruby and Zack. The end. The Mystery Club. The Meltdown. Josh, Zach, Chris, and Isabel were walking down a road. Isabel then said to everyone, I am glad Ruby and Devin are learning about space. Suddenly, a bird swoops down. He tells them, the world will flood soon. Josh then realized it was the same bird they saw the year prior. He knew the bird's statement was true because the world was flooded with water except for Arizona, since it was surrounded by mountains. The Ice Age was back. They got 51 weeks of Ice Age and 1 week of summer, which had happened the prior week. At the other end of the mountains was a boat that could save you. You only have 3.5 days to get there. The bird then flew off. The four of them started walking to the boat. Rocks started falling off the mountains behind them. Zack spent most of the time talking, and he wouldn't stop until they all heard a scream. Zack stopped talking and ran to the scream. The other three went off the path where Zack went and followed. They found a little girl about Isabel's age. She was hanging from a tree. Chris saved her and asked Josh, can we invite her? Initially, Josh responded, no. Chris went up to her and asked anyway, and she said, yes. Josh then hit Chris on the head, asking, why did you invite her? Chris said, I want her to be with us. Okay, Josh said. They eventually rediscover the path and start walking on it again. Eventually, Josh notices Zach and the new girl are now gone and out of sight, realizing they are about to get on the boat. Upon realizing this, Josh said aloud, oh, great. On day 4, Josh, Chris, and Isabel get close to the boat. The dam on the other side of the mountains was about to burst. Josh then noticed a rocket landing right where they had started. He knew it was Devin and Ruby. He pulled out his cell phone and texted Devin. Devin responded that he and Ruby were just starting to walk on the boat. Devin and Ruby are way back there. We need to go save them, Josh told the other two. Zach is way ahead. We can't leave him, Chris said back. Come on, I'll call him, Josh replied. Finally, Josh, Chris, and Isabel get to Devin and Ruby. We have to scram, one of the three said. They were about to get to the boat, and then Annie, Ruby, and Devin bonked heads, leading to Devin and Annie's phones breaking. When Josh, Chris, and Isabel got to the boat, Josh asked, where are Ruby and Devin? He then got a text from Ruby saying, we're stuck in a cave. Josh then said to himself, I have to go save them. Right as Josh got off the ramp to the boat, the dam broke. He scrammed with Chris and Isabel following. Josh broke open the cave, but water had hit them. They all climbed on a rock, getting to the very top of it. Once on top of the rock, Josh saw Zach was already on the boat up ahead. We're gonna live, Josh said. Then, after realizing their situation, Josh said, we're gonna die. Finally, on the top of the nearby mountain, Josh saw a squirrel with his acorn. He broke the mountain apart and no more water had come out. During the summer, the water must have dried up, Josh realized. They were going to live. Finally, they all got off the rock and everyone got off the boat. They all continued on their journey back home. The end. Fainted people. Upon returning back home, they all went back to school. At recess, Josh and Chris were talking to Isabel, Annie, Ruby, and Devin. Chris said, "We're going to start making movies next week." Okay, several of them said. "I'm going on a trip across the globe," Isabel said. Chris then fainted, and then Isabel fainted as well. Josh went to Zach, but Zach did the same thing. So Josh, Annie, Ruby, and Devin carry them to the nurse's office. "They'll be cured in a week, and if they're not, they're dead," the nurse said. The four of them walk out of the building. Josh's baby dinosaur kids walk to him. "Where did you get them?" Annie asked. "Underneath the ice," Josh said. Ruby then says, "You should take them back because—" She never finished her sentence, because in the landscape there was a dinosaur. To himself, Josh wonders, does she want these dinos? Josh runs under the bleachers and the dinosaur comes over to the picnic tables. Devin then said, "Nobody move a muscle." A few seconds later, Gallon R runs to the school building, and the dinosaur then runs to the people and turns towards the bleachers. "No," Ruby said. The dinosaur saw Josh. "Josh, give them to her. He's their mother," Annie shouted. "How do I know?" Josh asked. "What do you want? A birth certificate? She's a dinosaur. Give them to her, you lunatic." "Look, these are my kids, and you have to go through me to get them," Josh told the dinosaur. So the dinosaur roared, picked up Josh and the three baby dinos, and walked towards the hole from underneath, leaving footprints in the ice. So Ruby, Annie, and Devin went into the hole and saved Josh, then headed back up to the ice. They all went to the nurse, and Zach, Chris, and Isabel were cured. They all then go to the playground. The third graders, Isabel, Ruby, Annie, and Devin, took off, and the remaining fourth graders met a new friend that would play with them until the others came back. The end. The girl chase theory. Josh tells Zach, Chris, and Mark a dream. Josh explained it was back when Zach had surrendered and had gotten a group of girls to go chase Josh, Chris, and Mark. This is theory number one. The three of us are talking. Girls come and punch us. We are then on the ground, leaving us a vegetable, Josh says. "Are you kidding? I wouldn't do that," Zach said. "All right, then just listen to theory number two. We're eating broccoli. Girls come and attack us. Girls step on broccoli, leaving broccoli a vegetable," Josh said. "Okay, that might happen," said Zach. The end. The notebook page. The third graders came back, and Josh asked Mark, "Do you want to stay?" "I am transferring schools for a few months, but I will be back," Mark said. "Okay," Josh said. Then all of a sudden, a group of girls come and take Chris's notebook. Pages fall out of his third grade notebook. They begin cleanup, and they pick up the last page with the MPs on it. They then heard a weird noise and then a crack. Then it got really hot, and the ice started melting slowly. "Oh, great, not again," Josh said. They get to class, and the bell rings, so Zach and Chris go to the mystery van. The crack breaks, and water comes out. Josh turned into a saber-toothed tiger and ran to the van. They then drove. After 8 hours of driving, Josh says to Chris, "Rip up the page." Chris ripped it up, and then the water stopped. They then went back home and lived happily ever after. The end. Chris and Isabel are in love. Annie had just taken a trip, and the next week was summer. The next day, the ice was going to start melting. Chris and Isabel liked each other very much. Josh, Zach, and Ruby then walked off. "So it's just the three of us," Josh says. Then a dinosaur came out from underneath them. It must have been from Hades, Josh realized. The dinosaur steps on Chris and Isabel. The nurse came out and said, "We need to get some medicine." Josh and Zach went to get the medicine, but the dinosaur from Hades went too. Josh and Zach got the medicine and defeated the dinosaur, who went back to Hades. They then got back to school and gave the medicine to the others. They started to feel better. Annie then came back, and so did Mark. Josh, Zach, Chris, Isabel, Ruby, Devin, Annie, and Mark then lived happily ever after. The end. For now. The talk with Isabel. Zach and Josh were at the big tree on the playground. Isabel was at the gate and looked like she wanted to speak to them, so they went over. Zach said, "What's up, Isabel?" Josh said, "Shut up, Zach. Give the girl some disrespect." Josh then pulled Zach away from the gate, and Isabel ran and got Ruby and Annie, her best friends, and ditched school. The end. The Purple Rainbow. Shortly after the talk with Isabel, where Josh had called her stupid, Zach, Chris, Mark, and Josh were in a large room at their camp that they had set up before their first journey. It had tons of pictures of Isabel. Josh had thought they would help them find her. He then saw an oracle that was the same as the one in his book. It had said, "You should find your friend, Chris, but she has taken two of your friends. To get to where she is, you shall take two companions and cross the land of the mysterious rainbow." Chris chose Devin and Josh to go with him. They got out of the camp and found the land of the rainbow. Josh was worried about what the oracle had said. One shall die in the land of the rainbow. They got to the camp that Isabel must have made. Inside, they saw Isabel. Come back to camp. Josh won't tease you, Chris said. They then all leave and see a tornado. It came towards them. Run, Annie said. They then all ran, but Annie stayed back and got swapped up in the twister. No, Isabel said. Josh pulled her, and they all went back to Camp Mystery Club. On the way back, they saw the purple rainbow. When it appeared, Josh had thought it was a sign from Kronos, the Titan Lord, but it was not. The end. The minefield. Josh, Zach, Chris, Isabel, and Ruby were walking towards the park. Chris had just given Isabel a pie. Then rocks started falling. Run, Josh told everyone. As they ran, Josh saw Chris and Isabel were still back at the park. Josh told Zach and Ruby to hug each other. Then he hit them and they flew into the air and landed on the ground. Then, when Josh got to Chris and Isabel, rocks had trapped them. Josh then felt the warm and boiling gusher underneath them ready to pop out and kill them. Then the gusher came out and it blasted them into the air. They fell to where the others were. Josh landed on Zach's belly, Chris landed on Josh's back, and Isabel landed on Chris's belly. The end.